I want us to move along to the next story because you want to talk about the saline empire crumbling, right? Our indigenous brothers and sisters have not stopped pushing for that exact thing to happen for hundreds of years now, right? And, you know, the fortitude of indigenous Americans and let me not say indigenous people native to this continent in US and Canada, they have not ever stopped resisting this empire. And really what the indigenous people are doing in northern Minnesota, trying to stop the Line 3 Enbridge pipeline, I mean, they're not just doing this for them. They're really doing it for everybody that relies on these rivers, the Mississippi, and then there's another river. But we're gonna have an explainer about the Enbridge Line 3 if you are not already familiar with it and the struggle that has been happening in northern Minnesota for years now. I didn't realize like how long this pipeline fight has been going on, but it has been going on for a very, very long time. And actually, I'd like us to take a look at a video from a group called Honor the Earth, an indigenous-led environmental organization. These people are, you want to talk about the planet, like climate crisis and climate change and all that crazy shit? The only people who have been out here riding for the planet Earth from day one, at least in North America, has been the indigenous people. They are fighting for clean water, for protected lands, clean air, respect to the wildlife. And that fight continues. And the white-led corporate powers that be are not interested in any of that shit, right? These white-led corporate entities and state-backed entities, because Biden is complicit in this too. Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, is complicit in this too, because Enbridge is a Canadian-based company trying to run that tar sands. Y'all, if you get a chance to fucking Google the tar sands, if y'all not familiar with exactly how disgusting of an oil refining process that I say process, I said it like Canadians too. I say process. Let me say it American. Process. This is extracting oil from the tar sands. It is horrific. It is so terrible. And the United States and Canada governments are 100% complicit in this shit. And Enbridge, this piece of shit corporation, it doesn't give a damn if the damn pipeline ruptures and spills and permanently pollutes the surrounding rivers in which millions of people rely on for their drinking water. Oh, and by the way, it's wildfire season in northern Minnesota. Oh, and they are experiencing a drought. Oh, and the state has been selling water to Enbridge and allowing Enbridge to literally pump water out of the ground as Minnesota is dealing with these wildfires, one of which, the Greenwood wildfire, if I have this correct, in northern Minnesota, it's burned so long and it's so big that they don't expect for the Greenwood fire to go out until it snows. Until it snows. Until it snows. And the state is allowing Enbridge to pump water out of the ground. It is horrific. Anyway, today, let's take a look at the Honor the Earth video to give us an explainer for everyone who may not be familiar with this fight and why this fight is important. And I know y'all be like, well, I'm not indigenous and I don't live out there. No. Anything that they will do to some of us, they will do to all of us. And please don't think that we are exempt, especially if we live in suburban and urban places, honey. That water supply is tenuous. Ask the people of Flint, Michigan, okay? They will tell you your water can go south and you will be fucking taking horse baths with bottles of water for years. And maybe that's, should we not call them horse baths no more? Are we all everybody familiar with the term horse bath? Tunde said no. You're not familiar with it, or hose bath, Tunde? You never heard of hose bath? Okay, so a hose bath is when you don't actually get in the shower or sit in the tub, like you clean up from the sink, right? So you get your washcloth and hopefully your soap, and you clean up dry. You know what I'm saying? That's what that is. Now, why it's called a horse bath, I am not clear, because I know a lot of men probably take horse baths plenty. Does that understand? Was that a sufficient explanation?
I think we should just go ahead and play this clip.
I'm sorry. All right. Infinite Content. Thank you so much for your love, honey. Infinite Content said, Kim, their lines run under the source of the Mississippi River. Right. That's tens of millions of people's water sources. Thank you so much for that clarification there, Infinite Content. Yes, let's put this motherfucker in all the context, baby. The head of the Mississippi River. Right. So if Enbridge drops some tar sands oil in the Mississippi up in Minnesota, all this shit flow downstream. St. Louis, that's coming for you. Memphis is coming for you. Alabama, Mississippi. Oh, yeah. All bad. Tunde, let's take a look at that Honor the Earth video, please, sir.
What is Line 3? A lot of people want to know, and a lot of people don't know. So think of it this way. There are 6 really old pipelines that they put through in northern Minnesota, shipping diluted tar sands from Alberta to Superior, Wisconsin. And one of those lines is called Line 3. It has, according to Enbridge, about 900 structural anomalies in it. Structural anomalies are things like small little pinhole leaks, maybe some cracks, and some of those end up to be big problems, like that Kalamazoo spill. That was a structural anomaly. Line 3, it's old and it's corroding and it's at the end of its life. It's already had a number of leaks and spills, and frankly, it's a catastrophe waiting to happen. There is a likelihood that there is a whole bunch of contamination under the present line. And once that corrodes, our children and grandchildren may one day watch it drain a lake or a wetland or flood a farm field. Fixing these problems is very expensive, so Enbridge wants to abandon the pipeline, walk away, and build a brand new one in a brand new corridor. Enbridge calls this a replacement project. They're replacing Line 3. They are not replacing Line 3. They're putting in a whole new corridor and doubling the size of the line. That's not a replacement. That's a brand new line. And that's what's wrong. So we've got 2 problems. First, we've got a problem of the proposed new Sandpiper and Line 3 corridor through the heart of our best lakes and wild rice watersheds and through our treaty territories. We also have the problem of this old crumbling line that Enbridge wants to abandon. And right now, what abandonment means is that they just leave it and walk away. And the company says that they will take care of it, but it is not clear that there is any liability from the Enbridge Corporation. The worst part is that neither the United States government or the state of Minnesota has any plan to deal with it. The good news is that the Ojibwe tribes are standing up, and a lot of landowners, county commissioners, and mayors are getting increasingly concerned about who's going to be liable for Enbridge's mess. So tell Governor Dayton to tell the state legislator to tell county commissioners that abandonment is not what we want. We want big Canadian energy corporations to clean up their mess and not leave it for all of us. And we feel that they should put hard-working Minnesotans to work doing it. It's time to make a plan, investing in cleaning up and stabilizing our existing infrastructure and building stuff that actually serves people. Miigwech, this is Winona LaDuke.
So guys, that video was courtesy of Honor the Earth. And that video was 4 years old. You heard her shout out a whole different governor. Now Governor Tim Walz is in power, and Governor Tim Walz, a Democrat, I believe. Yes, Tim Walz is a Democrat. Tim Walz is okay with Enbridge just doing whatever. And if you heard, sis shout out the Kalamazoo oil spill, right? We got any Michiganders up in the building? Oh, Winona LaDuke, thank you so much. I'm sorry for Freddie French. Like I said, I had a couple beers. The Kalamazoo River spill happened in 2010. I'm reading this off Wikipedia, guys. It was an Enbridge project, right? This happened. A pipeline operated by Enbridge, it was Line 68, burst and flowed into the Talmadge Creek, which is a tributary of the Kalamazoo River. And it was the break in this pipeline resulted in one of the largest inland oil spills in U.S. history. The largest was a 1991 spill near Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Is there Grand Rapids, Minnesota? I thought it was just Grand Rapids, Michigan. You gotta watch Wikipedia sometimes. Wikipedia be on the pipeline carries diluted bitumen. I don't even know what that is. A heavy crude oil from Canada's Alhalabasca oil sands to the United States. Cleanup took 5 years, and I bet you it's not even fully cleaned up. So there's no question why the indigenous folks of northern Minnesota and really indigenous people all across this continent are literally up in arms. And people who have been fighting against the Enbridge Line 3 have been putting their bodies literally on the line. Yes, Bagheera, on the line. Yes, all the way on the line. They've been chaining themselves to heavy machinery, trying their best to stop the construction of this, and trying to disrupt as much as possible. And over 700 people so far have been arrested in connection to these actions. So I want us to take a look at how this is ramped up, and this is ramped up in the form of people literally marching hundreds of miles and assembling by the thousands on the steps of the Minnesota State Capitol in St. Paul, trying to demand Governor Tim Walz put an end to this. But really, Joe Biden could put an end to this the same way he ended Dakota Access Pipeline, right? These methods of energy extraction are unsustainable. And it's so fucked up because it is literally rich white men who have decided that they will be okay as the climate burns, as the air fouls, as wildfires run uncontained for actual months, right? They figured them and theirs will be okay. The rest of us just gonna have to deal with on this, how to cope with this burning planet. So I want us to take a look at a compilation of clips giving us a snapshot of some of the actions that are happening even today. A lot of it happened yesterday because that's the day that the permits were granted for the state capitol. But after the permits expired, there were still people there demonstrating. And then, of course, all of this has been met with a very heavy-handed police response. The police, of course, there to protect the interests of the corporate oil overlords and not actually to protect the water and the land and those who are in defense of the water and the land, who unfortunately don't have money and resources to afford police protection for the earth, right? Fucked up. So the first thing we're going to see actually is coming from the Enbridge camp, or right outside of the mancamp, okay? It is a group of mostly indigenous women and two-spirit femmes. They're singing Indian Car, and they are in zip ties and lockdowns at 7 a.m., blocking a Line 3 mancamp with a flipped over Indian car. This was courtesy of the, I think the GIWIW collective. And then we're going to see some other clips from Roots Action. The GINIW, the GINU collective, pardon me. That's who that first video is going to be credited to. And then we're going to see some videos from Roots Action. They were on the scene there in St. Paul. And I think a TikTok clip from a young protester giving people an idea of what level of law enforcement engagement to expect if you are indeed coming to Minnesota to help resist Line 3. And that's another one of the Twitter pages as well, Resist Line 3. So let's take a look at this compilation of videos that Tunde so astutely edited together for us. And we are going to send our support and solidarity to those who are trying to stop Line 3. But check this out, guys.
You don't have to. The actions at line 3 have 3 levels of risk, codenamed green, yellow, and red. Green actions are unarrestable, such as this walk. Yellow actions are possible arrestable, and red actions are arrestable. For the most part, people who are getting arrested are planning to get arrested, and that means that if you're planning to come up here and you don't want to get arrested, that is preventable.
Yesterday, Thursday, August 26th. In order to prepare for future permitted events, you need to leave the cordoned off area immediately. Please make your way to the inner circle of troopers, and you'll be escorted to the outside of the.
Guys, if you bout it, I say you bout it. I roll with indigenous, bout it. Hey, shout out to Derek. Derek said for me to check out Unicorn Riot's coverage of all these actions. Derek, absolutely. Unicorn Riot be on it, Shody. Yes, I definitely saw Unicorn Riot. And shout out to the People's City Council, Richie Sergenko. Richie Sergenko was actually on Unicorn Riot's coverage on their stream last night. Was it last night or night before? I'm getting my days. The COVID, I don't know what day it is, but days are running together. But it was this week. Richie was up there in Minnesota showing solidarity from the People's City Council. So, yeah, thank you so much for that, Derek. Shout out to Unicorn Riot. They do amazing coverage. Guys, and there was actually a big action here in DC. I know Shutdown DC was part of that. I think Sunrise DC was part of that, along, of course, with spearheaded and centered by indigenous-led organizations, marched on the White House to let Joe Biden know that he needs to stop this line 3 nonsense, especially when it is. I mean, from what I understand, guys, this line 3 project crosses the Mississippi in several different areas. It just doesn't cross the river once, it crosses it multiple times. And another river in proximity to there, it crosses that other river several times as well. My apologies for not knowing the name of the river offhand. But this is extremely, extremely serious. And these pipelines, again, unreliable. It's not a matter of if they will spill, it is when they will spill. And good luck cleaning up tar sands out of anything, guys. I mean, the spill in Kalamazoo, they said it took 5 years. I'm sorry. Do you really think they got it all cleaned up, or they just said good enough, right? I hate it here, y'all. Please alert the aliens. I am ready. y'all can beam me up anytime after now. Earth has had a great run. I don't know if I can endure Earth anymore because tragically, y'all, it is a small handful of people that are dictating the destiny of 7 billion of the rest of us. And they are determined to drive this planet climatically off a cliff, determined to let the ocean levels rise to unprecedented levels. Guys, we are in a code red climate alert, right? The stuff that we are dealing with is cataclysmic. I'm not sure who said it in the chat. And please send love and vibes and all that to the bayou down to Louisiana. They're looking at possibly a very major hurricane that is going to make landfall and could be devastating. And in a fucked up coincidence, this hurricane could strike New Orleans. It's not 100% that it's going to strike, but it's the models, Venmo on TV said the models are not looking great, but it's going to strike possibly on the 16th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. 16 years, y'all. Can y'all believe it's been 16 years since Katrina? 16th year anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. New Orleans could be facing yet another devastating storm. Not to mention all of the hurricanes that came through Louisiana and Alabama and Tennessee last year, y'all. I mean, we are in a very bad position here. And the people who are in power, the people who have the authority to try to lessen the devastating effects of all this are determined not to do anything about it. Remember Joe Biden during the debates, the presidential debates? He's like, I'm not banning fracking. Like, are you crazy? Fuck what I ban fracking for? Like he said the shit like he was offended at the question. Like, what the fuck would I ban? Me ban fracking? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So all we can do is stand in solidarity with those who are actively resisting. And those folks up in northern Minnesota and in St. Paul are actively resisting. There are bail funds. Please, I encourage you to check out Honor the Earth, check out the Indigenous and Environmental Network. There's lots of others. And they are posting links to, for bail support for those who are literally risking their freedom to help do anything possible to stop the construction and the finishing of this black snake, right? They are true black snakes killers. And yes, water is life. And don't y'all forget it.